Welcome back, everybody.
This is Sarah.
I'm Erika. Fuck. And we are Living Understaffed, the podcast about not having enough hands or hours and when your best just isn't very good. How have you been understaffed?
Girl. Well, first of all, I already know today's episode is going to be slightly triggering, so also fuck you. Second of all, not so much understaffed. So I'm building a database. I've been working on building this database for work, and I haven't touched it in a few months because life, because I'm understaffed, because dating, because whatever. Like family stuff, travel, I haven't touched it, and work has been really crazy. So now we've got a little bit of downtime. Right now, we only have 2 students coming in for one class, and it's like, all right, this is my time to shine. I also am preemptively packing and condensing things down for a potential job offer coming in, and I'm manifesting the shit out of it. So
Absolutely.
this weekend, I went through my entire garage, all of the totes that I own, and I condensed a bunch of them down. I took out 2 garbage bags full of shit and threw it away. The whole back of my car right now is loaded down with things to drop off for donation. And I condensed everything down. I emptied out 4 big ass totes. So I'm like, hell yeah, And I'm mostly doing it just because I found a whole tote completely full of photos that I have to scan in because I don't want to just carry around a tote of photos for the next 30 some years trying to find a place for them all while I'm in the process of downsizing. Come on. So I did scan in probably 300 photos this weekend into my forever thing. So I'm kind of pumped about that. That just feels like a great accomplishment. And then I went to work on a day that was not a normal work day that I'm not supposed to. And I worked on the database for a solid 5 straight hours. And it was amazing. And it only reignited my love of building databases. Anyway, how have you been?
Understaffed, but in a good way. So I think Thursday was the last day I didn't have anything other than work going on because we recorded last Friday and I didn't get done until late, 8:30 or something. And then I went to bed and I woke up the next day and I woke up at 8 and I just got up, took a shower and drove straight to Charlotte so I could see my friend, and then spent the night in Charlotte, came back, was late for recording, and I was exhausted, so I rescheduled to tonight. And then I had an appointment, I had 2 appointments after work, and then my nail lady was like, hey, can you come in a little bit early? And I was like, absolutely. So it's just been thing after thing after thing, and then I have something else that I'm doing after this, and I'm just
Yeah.
why?
What does
Why am I
your
doing this to myself?
dance schedule look like now?
Right now, it's just Thursdays.
Okay.
From 7 to 8.
Okay. So did you
I'm
drop
thinking about
competition?
adding more. So the dance studio that I was dancing at stopped doing adult classes altogether because they just didn't have enough people. There weren't a ton anyway, and then a few people dropped out just because life. And it was just me and one other person, and they're like,
yeah, it's not cost effective.
So.
I got you.
So, which kind of sucks, but whatever. So it'll be one day, and I thought about, because it's me, I thought about being there are 2 dance studios, so why don't I just take classes, both all of the adult classes? So I'll be doing team and contemporary at one studio, and then ballet and tap at another studio, and then I'll be back to doing it 4 nights a week, plus recording, plus working, plus dating, plus all of that stuff. And I'm like,
are you about to make
have you learned
an adult decision to not fill your plate? Wild. Why?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna not do it until after you come and visit. Because I want to
I
have time
appreciate
with
you.
you.
I appreciate
And
you
then
very
I'll
much.
see.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, that's so
We'll
funny.
see.
Yeah, I
I'm the
am
worst.
wildly excited about visiting. Wildly excited. Also, like, the amount of me that wants to just, like, jam pack a bunch of shit into the weekend to just spend time with you and, like, hang out and go do these things. But also we need to record. So, like, we need to make sure that we have at least one
Yes.
session together in the same room.
Mhm.
Like, after recording tonight, I'm half packing my car with just the podcast equipment because I know we're not recording until I get
Mhm.
there. So, like, I have these,
Yeah.
like, plans. But yeah, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to find time to at least record one episode while we're in the same fucking room. Because this will be,
Yes.
for those of you that are, new listeners, we have not recorded in the same room. We actually haven't been in the same room since we started this podcast, and we've been friends for a few years.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yes.
this is very much needed on like a self-care friend therapy type of thing. But
Yes.
also this will be the first time we record in person together, and then the next time that we're together is the Casey Book Beat Lit and Libation show. So, and that's
I'm so
in May
excited for
in
that.
Kansas City. God, I'm so excited. Like, ugh. And on the selfish note, like me moving to another state, I also have to make sure that they know that weekend is untouchable. Like, don't care
Yeah.
about anything going on work-wise. I am not working that whole weekend, hoping for like a 4-day. Hoping.
Yeah.
Because if I move to Georgia, that means that you and I will probably drive to St. Louis the same day and get to St. Louis at the same time. And then the same thing, we'll drive to Kansas City, we'll do the show, drive back to St. Louis, and then home. Like, it's going to be a quick weekend, a quick ticket. And what we could do, if we're smart about this, we could maybe meet up. Like, let's say if we drive, right? You could come to Augusta and then I'll drive
Mhm.
the whole way in one vehicle. That way we're not spending gas in two cars. And then when we come back, then all you'll have to do is drive from Augusta back home. Talk about something we all cherish, our memories. Whether it's old family photos, home videos, or those special moments that define our lives, they deserve more than a shoebox or a cluttered cloud drive. That's where Forever comes in. Forever is your permanent digital home for preserving, organizing, sharing your most treasured memories without ads, without data mining, and with a guarantee for generations to come. There's a need to digitize old photos and home movies that have been stuck on that VHS. Forever makes it easy. Do you want secure private cloud storage? You pay once and you own it for a lifetime plus 100 years. If you love creating custom photo books, I definitely do. Gifts, coffee cups, blankets, keepsakes. Forever has the options that you'll love. If you want the best deals, join Forever Club. Not only do you get nearly 5% off everything, but you also earn free storage every 3 months and get access to exclusive calls with the Forever founder. So your memories deserve more than just a temporary fix or a thumb drive that we've lost. Or, I've even worked with a couple people that their external hard drives have all of a sudden stopped working. So let's try to avoid that. You deserve Forever. And the link is in the show notes, and we'll link it to this video as well. Good luck out there. Let me know if you have any questions.
So what I wanted to talk about as far as like the whole like being fat and also dating thing is like I've been a bigger person and I've been like a mid-sized person. And we sort of covered this a little bit in our in our like pretty privileged episode, but there's definitely a difference in like how like you're treated and stuff. But also like, and this has happened to me a few times, and I don't know if it's happened to you, but like sometimes guys are like fetishy about it. Like it like I had one guy who was like he legit asked me to like rub his ween on like my belly, and I was like, no. No, if nothing else, I'm too self-conscious about that. And also, no. Like,
There was
and I'm not.
there was a guy last summer. I think I talked about it on the show too, but there was a guy last summer who would like, cuz I have a pooch. He would
Mhm.
grab onto it and like play with
No.
it, and I'm like, please don't. Please don't ever do that. And he's like, "Why? I love
No.
it." See, I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. And that's one of those things where like I've done a lot of work. We've both done a lot of work of like finding, first of all, finding the happy medium between like being healthy, like actually being healthy, like mentally healthy, mentally healthy as far as weight goes, mostly.
that's that's a leap, but okay. But yeah, yeah, the mental, like,
And
not
then
just I hear what for me, I hear what you're saying as far as, like, the acceptance of it. I'm never gonna be a size 6,
mhm,
let alone a size 8.
yes.
Like, there's no
Mhm,
and I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. But if you had asked me that question 5 years
mhm.
ago, I would have been like, "I must be a size 6, I must." No, it's honey.
Yeah,
And it's not
yeah.
necessarily like it's not necessarily an unreachable goal, but in order for me to do that in a healthy manner and do it where it's not I'm not sick, I'm not on medication, which medication's just fine if that's what people are using. But also, like, if I'm
Mhm,
doing things on my own, like, I want it to be, like, a pure, delicious effort the way that my weight loss journey has been, and it's been a lot of work and it's been
mhm.
fluctuations the way that it has been my whole life. So, like, I hear what you're saying where it's like the acceptance versus fighting it and fighting that nature and current society of needing that pressure of being as skinny as possible. So, yes, the mental health side of it is also important
Yeah, and then, the actually being healthy, like eating vegetables and
and not
thing
Kit
like
Kats for dinner.
protein.
Yes.
Yes, I say as a person who definitely ate a bowl of ice cream for dinner.
I don't know what you're talking
Uh,
about. Do I have it on the
um
recording? Yes.
But it's
Sorry.
it's stuff like that that it's like people there was a lot I feel like there was a period where it was all or nothing. Like, you're either fat and you're totally fine with it, or you're somebody who is participating in diet culture,
Mhm.
and that I think is hard for each person to, like, navigate that, especially a woman, like, because they're like, personally, I'm if a woman is, like, in a larger body and she is not making any, um or anybody really, they're not making any, like, effort, I say effort in quotes,
Mm.
to or, like, visible effort, I should say, to lose weight or eat more vegetables or whatever. That's also fine. Like, there's always so much going on, and I'm not never gonna be like, "Oh, well, that person isn't healthy," for the same reason that, there's this whole, like, oh, like, glorifying bigger people and stuff that people were, like, sort of criticizing Lizzo about, and it's like, but people don't do that shit about smoking. Like, I smoked for years. No one said a
Mhm.
fucking thing to me about how it wasn't healthy. Like, they did, like,
Mhm.
"Oh, smoking's bad for you," but not in the same way that they
No.
used me being a bigger person, and I'm saying being a bigger person to not like, I will call myself fat. I'm not gonna call another person fat because it is incredibly triggering. Uh,
Yeah.
but, um, it's not used in the same way. Yes. So, it's not used the same way, like, people are like, "Oh," they use it to justify being an asshole. Like, "Oh, I'm just I'm worried about your health. No, you're being a dick.
Correct.
And I do think it's much better. I think it is like just like the amount of clothes that are available for somebody who's over like a size 14 did not exist. Because
Mhm.
when I was in high school, I was a size 12. I was a size 12, and it was so hard for me to find clothes that fit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
I was similar. And
excuse me?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it even, like, moving overseas and going to Europe, and I was 150 pounds heavier, the amount of looks that people would give me, and even some of the people that would make comments about, "Oh, she's American." First of all, dickhead. Like, fuck you, actually. But we talked about this on a previous episode too, how like it's an abomination that plus size boots, like knee-high boots, aren't easier to find,
Yes.
or you can find them, but they're twice as expensive as a normal person size pair of boots. Like, it's fucking infuriating. It's infuriating. And
Yeah,
I've been curvy my
yeah.
whole life. Like, come on. It's got to get
Mhm.
better out there somewhere.
And yes. And I also, and this could very well all be in my head, but like there is something different about being tall and fat at the same time,
It's
because
not in
then
your
you're
head.
just a giant, and it's fucking awful. I hate it so much, and I'm much less self-conscious than I was. And I think a lot of it is also like confidence, and I am more confident in who I am, and I don't really care. Like if a guy comes up to me at a bar, I do not care if he's talking to me or talking to, like, I don't, and I
Mhm.
probably don't want to talk to him depending on the bar I'm at. Like that's not why I'm there.
Yeah,
You know, like
correct.
I'm there to hang out and have fun with my friends. I'm not there to
Trolling.
like, yeah,
For
right?
for lack of a
I
better
was.
term, I'm not trolling. I'm trying to enjoy my life and enjoy my friends and the time that I'm spending. Like,
Exactly.
if there's anything, this is kind of a tangent, but if there's anything in my adult life that I've really like started to appreciate is the time with my friends and the time with my family. Like, work is there and I have a lot of
Yes.
passion for my work, but like you don't get the time back with your family and friends. Your job is always going to be there. Not, I mean, in some instances, not always, but for the majority, your job's going to be there
Yeah.
regardless. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but I'm saying like there were definitely a lot of times where like I never had a hard time pulling. I never really did. But I have had a lot of friends, like my best friend for a long time was like shorter and skinnier than me. And this is like multiple best friend, like different
Mhm.
friends, right?
Mhm.
And like it just sucks when someone is coming up to you and you know for a fact they're not going to talk to you. And not only are they not going to talk to you, they're not even going to acknowledge that you exist.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um
And
because you're not attractive, which is
we've all also experienced the
mm,
duff situations. Like, we've all been there.
yeah.
I definitely have. And I've also been the wingman
Mhm.
for people going after the not as attractive friend for my friend to pull. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I feel like we've all been there, and a lot of people have been there. A lot of people do that for their friends, but that doesn't make it any less almost insulting because regardless of
Yeah.
how pretty we are, how much makeup we have on, how cute we're dressed, I'm still an interesting motherfucker. And you
Yeah.
are lucky to get to know somebody like me. I'll say it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
cocky enough, but also I'm pretty fucking cool and I'm hilarious. So, like,
Right?
come on. So, anyway.
And yeah, and there's a difference between like a preference versus a like fat women are ugly. Saying it like
Mm,
it's objective versus I prefer women who are smaller, which I do think is like a standard of beauty thing, but like
yeah.
that's less of a shitty thing. Not everyone's gonna do that work, right? Um I definitely have standards for men that I find physically attractive that
Yeah.
I for sure. So I'm not, that is not like a high horse thing, but like there's a really big difference between um like this is the type of woman that I find the most attractive and keeping that shit to yourself
Mm.
versus all fat women are ugly or all women should only be this weight or whatever. And can we talk about that? They're always like, oh, no women over 130 pounds. They clearly don't know how much that is.
No.
That is a child.
No, because that's all that they can bench. That's all. Like, all right, fuck off, actually. Um, I need a tangent. I need okay.
Mhm,
So there's a guy who's in one of our engineer captain's career course, American, and he's like the class
mhm,
S6 because our S6 sucks balls, and I'm like the IMO S6. So
mhm,
he actually heard down the grapevine that I work on all of the IMO computers. So he and this is like sexy. He came to me and was like, "Show me all your ways, Yoda." And I was like, "Of course I will help you. Of course I will." Because also, the more that I help the S6 in the class, the less I have to help the students. So, like, let's go.
yes.
Right? So, he was actually like, and this is a little insulting. So, this guy, sexy, came to me and was like, "Teach me your ways." Of course. And will I be humble about it? No.
No.
So So he was actually doing a good job that he was going through like the configuration manager and manually pulling updates and stuff to try to see if there's anything going on. I taught him a third like trifecta trick on top of the command prompts to like pull some of that stuff. And so we had a really good like 45-minute conversation of like, this is what's happening with odds. This is the Windows 11. Oh, by the way, imaging services are down, blah 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 blah. Like it was a really great conversation. So since then, he's an ECCC student, so he's also studying, right? Like he's also participating in the class. And so now he knows where my
Mhm.
office is. He sees me all the time. He comes over and like talks. And anyway, he appeals to my ego in a sense of like he comes and asks for help rather than just assuming. And I'm like, hmm,
So nice.
it is nice. Anyway, I'll shut up. That happened today. I needed to vent.
No, for sure. That happens to me with our IT guy sometimes. Like he almost has several times. And then like I'll leave early and he'll be like, "Oh man, I was gonna ask you to have lunch with me." And I'm like, but it's only ever been when I like took the afternoon off for whatever reason. Like I had a doctor's
Oh.
appointment or whatever.
Mhm.
It's always after the fact. I'm like, interesting. But then he also talks about how he never takes a lunch. So I'm like, okay. And
I mean, it's
he
kind of
definitely like finds reasons to come down to my desk and like talk to me and like you know when somebody's talking to you and they're trying to impress you.
oh,
I
yeah.
get that a lot. And like maybe it's not just me, like maybe it's like any woman in the office, but I don't think so. But I also have I'm not dating my coworkers rule. I have a very strict I do not date my coworkers rule. I have that rule because I did not always have that rule and I learned my lesson.
And
So
I will never
if
forget the call center douchebag that I hope that I meet in person so that I can personally punch him right in the dick. Like, and I hope he's hard. Like, let me meet him in a bar and like talk him up for a minute and get him hard. And I'm just gonna fucking punch the shit out of his tiny dick. Oh.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like I've had a couple I did have one guy that like was very going back to the actual being fat thing, who was yeah, again, he would like touch my stomach and be like, "Oh, that's so hot," or like, "Ugh, ugh." And I'm just like, I don't like that. And I don't like it. Like, I get it if you find it attractive, but you finding it attractive does not make me feel less bad about it.
Correct.
Like, you acknowledging that it exists makes me feel some type of way about it. And if you and this sort of also goes back to, like, if there's a way to find, like, there are plenty of men who find me attractive. There are plenty of men that find you attractive. Like, there are like, and I know this is gonna sound conceited, but, like, there are so many of them. There are so many of them.
Yes.
And, like, there is a way to conduct yourself where it's not fetishy. Like,
Can we, I'm going to caveat because that's what we do. Can we give a little bit of credit to, yes, there is still talking down and criticism of people who are curvy or plus size or whatever terminology you're most comfortable with. Like, I make fun of myself a lot too, where I'm like, this fat kid,
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm humble about it to a certain extent. I am hard. We're all our worst critic. We're all hard on ourselves. However, comma, I am very, I am also, what's the term? I am also quite aware that today's society, today's culture is more accepting. And by accepting today's culture, I mean the average man, I would say, and even the average lesbian is more accepting of a curvy girl now than they were 10 years ago, than they were 20 years ago. So
100%.
I also, in my 30s, as far as especially post-divorce, I am also much more confident and much more of the don't give a shit what you think about me type. I'm still going to have fun. I'm still going to laugh uninhibitedly. I'm still going to enjoy myself without worrying what the fuck someone else thinks. And am I still sometimes worried about that? Yeah, I'm a human, but I care so much less than I did 5-10 years ago. So I think that age also has a little play into it as well.
Yes. Yeah. I think so too, because it's less like being in when you're younger, or at least this was my experience, being so afraid of what other people thought. And it was legitimately like, what if I do this thing or I say this thing or I wear this thing and, like, everyone is like, oh, you're weird, or take that off or whatever. And I think
Hi, my name is Trisha, and I am the Vice President of the nonprofit Casey Book Beat. We aim to connect readers with local literary talent, fostering a deeper appreciation for the stories that shape our community. Through this catalog and our local events, we want to provide a platform for authors, bookstores, and publishers to reach a wider audience and strengthen their presence in Kansas City. We have so many amazing events coming up in the year 2025. We have our Writers' Workshop in January. We have a children's book fair in April, and so many more, including our Casey Lit Libations in May and August or November. Love to see you.
So one thing that I looked up for this episode was the 37% rule. It's sort of, and I had to read a little bit about it because I was like, what the fuck is that? It literally says algorithms to live by. And I was like, hold on. So what it says, the 37% rule states that in order to have a 37% chance of choosing the best option in a pool of candidates, you need to study or go over 37% of the options without commitment, and afterwards leap and choose whoever surpasses the established benchmark. If applied to partner selection, the 37% rule says that if you want to marry the best candidate in the world, you would need to date without commitment 37% of the candidates. Afterwards, you would have to leap and choose whoever seems good enough after collecting data and experience. As you might be thinking, this is completely unrealistic. Who has the time, energy, or money to date 37% of the world's men or women and then be able to make a choice? Thankfully, This assumption for the 37% rule is flexible and can be interpreted in different ways. So one person did this. His name is Michael Trick. He's a professor of operations research at Carnegie Mellon, was once a graduate student looking for love. So as a scientist, he saw the similarities in looking for a partner and the secretary problem. Therefore, he decided to run the numbers. Assuming that his search for a partner could run from the ages of 18 to 40, the 37% rule gave him the age of 26.1 as the time to stop looking and start leaping. As it turns out, at that point in time, he was 26, so that's exactly what he did. When he met a woman who was a better match than all the ones he had dated so far, he proposed. Neither the algorithm nor all his knowledge of the problem prepared him for what came next. She turned him down. This is playing against the rules according to the secretary problem. Trick had experienced firsthand one of the oversimplifications that the problem has, the possibility of rejection. As it turns out, if the possibility of rejection exists, the math suggests that you should start leaping only after 25% of looking. In turn, that approach would give you a 25% chance of finding the best match. I don't know that I would use an algorithm to help me date. Like, I don't. Let's also give a shout out to the girl who did the Hunger Games of dating and how she
Yes.
I fucking love her so much. And she's like, I love the way that she's applying typical men dating, like men swiping back to them. Like she's applying it to them as if she were a man. And it's like, I love you. And it's almost one of those man hating, like, I'm going to treat you the way that you treat women type of thing. And the great thing is that she's had some really great dates and great potentials. But even after doing that, first of all, she swiped right on the first 100 men that showed up on her timeline. And I was like, first of all, that's
brave.
That's brave. That's so many conversations to keep straight. And of course, she did the same thing that we would do. We gave them nicknames. We gave them colors. It was all color coded. Like shit. The only thing she didn't do that you and I probably would do is an Excel goddamn spreadsheet. Like, can we talk about that? So I don't know that I would use an algorithm to do this, but goddamn. Another thing, and this is something that Erika and I talked about for this particular episode. I have two things. So I found an article that says older adults share missed red flags that they wish they would have seen when they were younger. And a few of them, of course, bad money management skills. And honestly, after working in a financial management firm, that's something that I absolutely look for. Because if you're trying to build a future with someone, like, you don't want someone who's in like severe credit card debt, like educational debt. I get like that's your education, but credit card debt, or like I had a friend back in the day when we worked at the financial management firm, her husband had a very, very, very complex job. And when he would come home, he would spend a little bit of time with the kids, spend a little bit of time with the wife. He would do the dishes, and then he would play video games until like 2 a.m. But for him, he would spend money buying those packages in the video games, like the new weapon system, the camo pattern, like whatever weapon systems it is.
Yeah.
And he actually made them miss a couple of car payments because of all of the packages that he was buying. And like, that's also not okay, right? So terrible money management. Another one is lying, obviously, manipulation. One person said, in my personal dating experience, it was always the ones who worked fast. They jumped into a relationship like we were getting married tomorrow. Every single time it always fizzled. I want to know people gradually, which love bombing is what the cool kids call it.
Yep.
Vanity, control freaks. Let's see, putting you down. This one I found very interesting. Pay very close attention how a man treats their mother. I should have run from the hills from my ex-husband and one of my ex-boyfriends. My ex-husband treated her like utter shit, yelled at her for the way she drove, what she said, and really verbally abused her. The ex-boyfriend woke his mother up at 4 a.m. so his mother could do his laundry because he had a business flight to catch in a couple of hours. He treated his mother like she was his slave. Never get into a relationship with anyone who doesn't treat their parents well. Yeah.
That is insane.
That's insane.
That is insane. I'm also never going to date a man if he doesn't know how to do his own laundry. I'm sorry.
Correct.
I'm not your mother.
Correct.
Like,
if they cheated on a previous partner, they'll probably cheat on the next one. And then quick to anger is another one. So, like, it's just a list of, like,
yes.
things that we definitely
Yes.
missed, you know, or things that we would overlook, like, oh, they're stressed. Oh, they're really understaffed, you know, things like that. This last thing that I found
Yeah.
is, are you dating someone who's emotionally mature? And there's 4 signs, according to this article, there's 4 signs that you've met someone who's ready to date. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Where the hell is it? You think they would give you a list when they say 4 things, but there's 5 things listed.
Right?
Okay. Emotionally mature people know what they're looking for in a dating relationship. I agree with that. Like, I 100% agree with that.
What is the goal of this situation? Yeah.
Yeah. And not necessarily that, like, every person that I'm looking at I want to marry. That's not the goal. But, like, yeah, finding someone to spend my time with that's worth my time, that's a big deal. Like, for me to carve out time in my busy-ass, understaffed schedule, that's a huge deal to me. The next one is emotionally mature people are not allergic to feelings, whether yours or theirs. So, like, obviously, that's nice. Someone you can lean on, but someone that also they feel trusting of you to lean on you too. Emotionally mature people are open to investing in their partners. So, does that mean a committed relationship? Does that mean monetarily? Does that mean time? For me, time is a big deal. Quality time is a big deal. So,
yeah. Or, time and effort for me
effort
are what does it. Like,
yeah.
If you make me dinner or you listen to, like, the things that I like or replace a broken doorknob in my house.
Hottest thing on the planet. Hottest.
Hot. So hot.
Another item listed here is emotionally mature people expect mutuality and don't settle for less, which I love that because if I had the same standards for a man that I do at 25, I would punch myself in the face. Like, that is not any effort. Is literally the hottest thing that a man can bring to my table, right? Our number 1 downloaded episode is the second episode that we release, and it's what do you bring to the table? And the number 1 thing that you and I both have in common is that our tables are fucking full. So, like, what is it that you think that you're going to bring to my life that's going to magically improve it or whatever? Whatever you think that you're going to come in and improve, I hope that it does. I do sincerely hope that I find a partner who can do that. But at the end of the day, I have to make room on my table for you. So if what you bring to the table is valuable enough to me, aka you're putting in the effort and you're making time for me and vice versa, that's pretty goddamn huge. That's pretty goddamn valuable. I don't give a shit about money. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Like, it's nice, but also, and Erika and I have talked about this on the show before too. If you are in a bind, if you're in a specific, we'll say financial situation, but you ask me to like have a cup of coffee with you, if you make a K-cup at home and bring the cup of coffee to go with us wherever the fuck we're going, that's still effort, and you didn't have to spend $8 at Starbucks. It's effort. Like,
it's effort.
Yeah. The last thing on this list is we deserve someone who puts us at ease. And I could not agree more.
You know how I feel about this.
100%.
You know exactly how I feel about
100%.
this.
100%. If someone makes me, and I am a bit of a control freak myself, like, I've been in survival mode since I was like 12. you know? So if
Yeah.
someone makes me comfortable enough that I don't feel like I have to be in survival mode, thank you. Like, I don't have to, like,
Yeah.
be constantly worried. I don't have to be, like, you know, concerned about whatever the situation is between us or for me in that moment. That, like, that will help me sleep at night. That will help me not have so much anxiety. Not that I really put a whole lot of stock into another person as responsible for my anxiety, but it would help me
No,
lower
but
that level a little bit.
yeah, it's like when people talk about meditation, it's like having that hour or 20 minutes or whatever when you're with that person or talking with that person where you're not like on and like cortisol is like up here.
Just
You're like
free flowing.
relaxed.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is so like just knowing that like cuz we both spend so much of our life not and not like in a bad way but just like the type of people that we are, the type of like um professions that we're in and the fact that we're single, if something like if we don't do it, it's not going to get done in a lot
Yes.
most aspects of our life. So when you can be with somebody and even if it's just like, "Oh my god, I'm so hungry." And they're like, "I got you." Like a home cooked meal you don't have to make or like, "Oh fuck, like I'm so tired." And they like bring you a glass of water or something like not having to always be the one to take care of everything, even if it's just something really small. Like to me, like that I'm just always so incredibly thankful.
Yeah. I was recently dating someone who spent time at my house, and I was super apologetic, but I'm understaffed. I have a bunch of projects on my plate, and Erika, I was
Mhm.
in the middle of making something for you to bring this weekend, and so I was like, I have to get this
Mhm.
done before I go to Vegas, before I head to North Carolina to visit you, because I'm like, I don't wanna just be working on it up until the last day that I leave. Like, I wanna make sure that I have a little bit of
Mhm.
cushion time. And so he was super understanding that he was like, um, "I just want to sit here and be, like, with you in the same room and share the same space. You can work on whatever you need to work on, but I wanna be here while you're doing it. I wanna share the same space." And that could not have been more perfectly timed or worded where I was like, "Thank you." Like, I didn't feel the pressure of like and I still felt a little bad, but he was very reassuring in a sense of like, "I'm sorry that I have so much on my plate, but I had committed to this, and it's a project, and it's a gift that I wanna give Erica, like, I have to work on it." And
Mhm.
he was understanding of that. So putting my unsuredness, I don't know if that's a word, but putting, basically that insecurity of
Yeah.
like, it's not that I don't want to spend time with you, but it's that I have commitments and I want to somehow be able to do both. And he allowed that. He allowed for both of those things to happen and was comfortable and fine with it. And it was like, okay, it's a really great feeling. Like, that's a really nice feeling where I have dated and or was married to someone who like chastised me in the past for things like that. And I'm like, it's kind of a red flag now. And now
Yeah.
Erica and I have both like dated people recently that we have raised the bar for the people that we see because we know that men are out there that have, X, Y, and Z qualities. And I'm not lowering my bar again below that because I know
No.
it's possible, you know? So your whole camera just went, "Whoop."
It's cuz Daisy is backing that thing up because she's scratching her back. Okay, I'm going to go into the outro cuz I'm seriously about to pass
Oh,
out.
yeah, 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 totally fine.
Um um That's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We love every single one of you. We are so close to 1,000 downloads. We are 30 downloads away from 1,000 downloads. So if you guys could help us get over that milestone, I cannot tell you. Like, we never thought that we would have more than just like our friends listening to this. And the fact that we do, and there are people that don't even know us that are like, it is amazing. So help us reach that goal, because it is literally, this isn't like us being like, this isn't like a marketing thing. I mean, it is a little bit, obviously, but like literally it's like a goal. It's like, this is something that we want so bad. Like, this is still something that we do in our spare time. We are not making any money at all, even close. And it's just, it means so much that that other people are like receiving it and enjoy it as much as we do. So thank you so much. And also, please help us. And also, we are going to be in Kansas City May 10th for KC Book Beat. We still have merch. We will have merch at Lit and Libations. We have our Discord that we're active in. We have our book club, which is Halfling this year by S.A. Wendell, I think.
This year?
And this month. Oh, I'm tired. And as always, we love you so much. Follow us on socials, like us on socials, share everything. And without you, we would be potting.